Hey YouTube, Ed here with Jack of All Trades. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. So today we're going to do just a fun little project. I've got this 1970s Ford tailgate here, and I'm going to turn that into a bench or maybe a table. Just all depends on how I decide to mount it. It could go either way. But at any rate, before we get into that, please, if you like this channel and you like these fun little projects and you like what I'm doing here, please hit that subscription box in the bottom. Give me a thumbs up. Hit me with some comments. I try to answer all the comments I can, and I actually enjoy answering the comments, so please keep them coming. We are really getting close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and like I've been saying for months, we're going to do a fun giveaway. I guarantee you no less than 3 people will come away with something kind of fun. One of the giveaway prizes is going to be kind of major, so please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's grow the channel together. I'll never ask you for money. I'll never have a Patreon account. I just want to build my subscriber base. So at any rate, let's continue on talking about the tailgate. So I have the tailgate. I don't have any other parts with the exception of the tailgate support brackets. I have both the right and left side, cobwebs and rust and all, and I have some various pieces of metal, which this should be a fairly simple thing to do, and it should be a project that pretty much anybody could do if you just put a little effort into it and a little bit of thought beforehand. So let's go ahead and let's move the camera. Let's talk a little bit about what I've got and how I kind of plan to do this. All right, so I obviously have the tailgate here, which is the key critical component. I've also got the tailgate brackets. I've got 2 pieces of 2x2 angle iron, and they are 20 inches long. And I have 2 pieces of 2-inch flat steel, and this is what I'm going to use to build the basic bracket so far. And I also have 2 pieces of 1.5-inch round stock. Now, this was stuff that I just had laying around. It seems to fit well enough into the ends here where the tailgate pivots are. So hopefully that's going to be able to do what I need it to do. I got to make one of them removable so you could take the tailgate on and off if you want to. It'll be much easier to mount the tailgate to the wall or the bracket to the wall without the tailgate on it. So I got to make at least one of these removable. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this laid down, and let's start building the bench. All right, so what I've got here is on the end of the tailgate are these sockets, which is where the tailgate pivoted previously. So I've got this 1.5-inch round stock. Now it's just a hair smaller than the socket, but that's all right. It's not like it's going to be bouncing down the highway. It's just got to be strong enough to hold the weight. And they're just long enough where if I weld them to this piece of angle iron, I should be able to get a good pivot on it. So the very first thing I've got to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to weld one of these permanent to this angle iron right to the edge so that there's enough space in here for the tailgate to clear. And then the other one I'm going to have to make it removable, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we'll work on that. But the first step is to make this bracket here, and I'm going to weld this solid. All right, so I need to put this round piece of tubing all the way to the edge here and all the way to the edge here to leave enough room to clear the tailgate. And I think the best way to do this is to do a plug weld. So I'm going to see if I can't get this done. Okay, so we've got it welded on there, and it doesn't appear that I've got any clearance issues. So now what I'm going to do on this side is I got to make this bracket I got to attach it to this angle iron somehow. Now this piece right here, I've already scoped this out a little bit. I know this is going to need to come off. This was the original hardware that Ford utilized to attach this support to the box of the pickup. And it's riveted on, it's permanent, it doesn't have a nut and a bolt. So I'm going to have to grind that off and get it out of here, because if I leave it on there, there's not enough room in here to accommodate that height. So I got to basically remove it and affix this right to the side of the angle iron on the inside here, on the inside right in here. So there's enough room, because I don't want this angle iron sticking out too far. I want it to be as close to the bed of the pickup, or the tailgate of the pickup, as I can. So the next order of business will be to go ahead and remove that bracket. There it is. The bracket's removed. This is the little knob that was left over. I just basically ground it off with a grinder. And I don't need this, but I'm going to save this just in case maybe it might be useful. So we're not going to throw it away just yet. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to attach this. And I got to figure out what the measurement is to make this work, so that when the tailgate opens, the support will hold it up and then still fold up when it's all said and done. All right, we've got the side brackets all built. Now I got to put some cross braces in. So I'm going to use this flat steel here as cross braces. And really all it's doing is keeping these angle irons from moving in and out. These are really supporting all the weight. These are just there for stability more than anything, so they don't have to be anything serious. And then later on when I determine where I'm going to hang this thing, I'll know where the studs line out because I'm going to want to screw this into studs. I can weld in another piece of steel here to catch the studs. So what I need to do though is I need to make sure that the measurement from this end to that end and from that end to this end are the same to make sure everything is straight, and then I'll have to cross square it to make sure everything is square, just to make sure that the tailgate goes up and down smoothly. Little tip, make sure you remember to turn on the gas. So there it is. We got the frame welded up. Now we got to work out something for the latching mechanism. All right, so we've got the original factory latching mechanism here, cobwebs, dirt, and rust, and all, and it actually works. If I pull the handle, the catch does go in and out just like a tailgate should. So what I've got is two pieces of cut off scrap here. This was attached to a piece of 2x2 angle iron, and they were cut off for another project. And me not wanting to throw anything away, I had them laying around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize this. I'm going to cut a notch in here, the same size as the notch in here, for that catch, and then I'll weld it to the angle iron, and that'll be my catch for the tailgate. So I'll do that for two pieces, and I'll have one for each side, and then I'll just have to weld it to the angle iron frame, test it to make sure that it latches correctly, and that should be the end of it. And then it's a matter of mounting this thing to the wall, making sure everything works as it should, and then taking it all back apart and painting it and getting it ready to use. So let's go ahead and let's make some catches. There. Now I have two brackets that can be used in this latch. I've cut out a square notch using a Dremel and a drill and a file, and just made that nice and square. I also chamfered the edge here so that when it goes down on the bracket, it'll have a better opportunity to push the gate open, or push the latch open, excuse me. Now, I'm fully going to assume that, like typical tailgates in the 70s, this is not going to be a slam shut. This is going to have to be this is very likely going to be a pull the latch to retract the catches to close it, but that's fine. It doesn't need to be a slam shut. It's going to do exactly what it needs to do. So I've got 2 brackets there. Now let's get them attached to the angle irons. All right, so the way we're going to do this is I'm going to put this bracket in here. Right there. That's about the location it should be in. So now that I've got that kind of set where I want it, I'm just going to take a little dab of paint, and I got to be fairly quick here so the paint doesn't dry. And then I'm just going to mark it. That should mark where the bracket's supposed to be, or where the catch is supposed to be. Right there. That's where the paint left a mark. That should be the location of where the catch needs to be welded. So of course we'll weld it into place, and we'll obviously test it. We'll tack it into place, and then we'll obviously test it to make sure that it fits before we make it more permanent. So let's go ahead and let's get this thing tacked in. Okay, it catches just like it should. So now if I pull the handle, it should release. And it does. All right, so the latches works, the mechanism works, everything works. Now what I need to do is I need to drill some holes, and I actually need to mount this to something and do a full-blown test on it before I get crazy and start painting it and doing other stuff, because you just want to make sure that all the mechanisms work. So I'm actually going to mount it probably right to this wall here, and just to verify that the mechanism and everything works. So I'm going to finish my smoothie. And then I'm going to go to the hardware store, and I'm going to get some studs, or some lag bolts, excuse me, and then we're going to screw this thing to the wall and verify that everything works. Well, there it is. Short of a coat of paint, the project is pretty much done, and I'm not going to bore you with the details of the painting. I'm just going to rattle can it with some black paint just to keep the metal from rusting. But for the most part, this is done. As you can see, the mechanism works. The tailgate functions as it should. It's nice and solid. I can put my weight on it. I don't have to worry about it coming down. I've only got 2 3/8-inch lag bolts installed right now. When I do the final installation, I'm sure I'll install a couple of more on the bottom sides, and maybe a couple up in the middle just for GP, I guess. But yeah, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. The mechanism functions, the latches all function. It folds up. It locks into place. it does exactly what it needs to do. And I think when I finally do get it installed, I believe it's going to go up to my hunting cabin on my deck. I will probably clear coat the tailgate just to arrest some of the rust. You can see here I've got a pretty good little bit of cancer right there eating it away. I want to arrest that as much as possible and stop that as much as I can. The nice thing is my deck up in my hunting cabin has a neat little overhang, so it should be kept out of the weather for the most part. But very happy with the way this turned out. This was a lot of fun. This was just a quick little project. It wasn't too horribly difficult, and it was a great way to repurpose an old tailgate that was otherwise probably going to just end up in the junkyard. So at any rate, Ed here with Jack of All Trades. Thanks for riding along on this video. If you like this content and you like this channel and you like the things that I'm doing, please hit that subscribe button. Please give me a thumbs up. Throw me some comments. Hit me with some comments on things that you would like to have seen or what I can do differently, or maybe some things I could do to improve this project. I try to answer all the comments that I possibly can, and I want to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So please hit that subscribe button, get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and then we'll do my 1,000 subscriber celebration giveaway. So at any rate, again, Ed with Jack of All Trades, thank you for riding along, and you guys have a great rest of your week.